So Europe has some of the best looking airports. Like I have been in a few of them, but I've seen the feedback and some opinions about them that they are very beautiful, especially in the Middle East. But in Mexico, it is the exact opposite. They are mostly dirty, they are cramped, and therefore they're small. Yo, what's up? My name is Manuel, and in this channel, we only talk about aviation. So, for today's topic, it is what is going on with not only the airports as you've seen in the thumbnail, but also aviation in general. And yes, is the quality actually that good compared to the rest of the world? Well, you might say, oh, it's just the economy, like, and you can't compare the Mexican economy to the rest of the world. I mean, to Europe or the U.S. Well, you're right. Yes, you're right. But what I'm saying is Mexico actually trying to support aviation using its available stuff, especially the government? Well, we're gonna analyze the some of the important aspects of aviation, whether if it's airlines or airports, aircraft, etc., and rank them from 1 to 10. So let's look at Mexico. In Mexico, there are three big airlines. They are Aeromexico, they're Viva Aerobus, and Volaris. Aeromexico, it is the highest quality airline. It is expensive for obvious reasons, and it is the country's flagship airline. In other words, the most important airline of all of Mexico. And it is also the airline that goes to most international destinations. And and yes, what we have to address here is that we have to address the bear of the room, which is Delta. Aeromexico is from Delta Airlines, and yes, that is why it has all that quality, and the cost is that. There's also Volaris, which is purely from Mexico, and it is low cost. It is mid quality. It has some weird policies for some reason, but it is more national, but still has some international destinations. And yes, I've been in the airline, and yeah, it is good. It is a good airline. It is a little bit expensive, but just, yeah, it's expensive, but the quality is actually not that bad. But in Viva Aerobus, it is the low cost carrier. It is mid to low quality, and it is the most national, and therefore it is the airline that you see the most Mexican citizens there. If you're actually traveling from another country, don't go to Viva Aerobus. But in Viva Aerobus, it is also the most efficient because it has the most flights in all of the country. So so yeah, we can't deny that. And and yeah, overall, for using all those three big airlines, well, I rank them as 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 because they still need some work, but overall they're actually good. So let's look at airports. Airports, yes, I mean, the locations suck. The locations are some of the worst areas they decided to make an airport. Especially in Mexico City, they decided to make it in the middle of the area so that you can't expand it in every single way. And that is a problem that the government actually had tried to fix, but it is still unsolved, and it actually brought more problems. And in the case for the rest of the airports, they are better, but they are still really far away, which is good and bad for obvious reasons. But yeah, and and yes, like I said, they are mostly small, especially in the case of Mexico City. If there are a lot of people that live in that city, and there are also a lot of tourists. So and the airport, it is really small for that. It is so compact. It is so cramped that yeah, it that the size of the airport, it is really bad. and it also can't help the fact that the terminals are not even that nice. I mean, all airports are dirty, especially the aircraft, but the terminals, I mean, Mexico, just please use some work on the terminals, please. Because, yeah, there are other, some of them are really badly designed, but the what mostly affects is the dirtiness. And yes, that is why I rank it 4 out of 10. So now let's look at the aircraft. The aircraft, it is actually quite good. I mean, I'm not biased because most of the aircraft in Mexico is our Airbus, but I'm not like Team Boeing or Airbus. But in Aeromexico, they only use Boeings other than some E-jets and the iconic Boeing 787 Dreamliner. I mean, iconic. And yes, they are mostly really modern. Like in Volaris and Viva Aerobus, they use the A320neos, and they're actually really good aircraft, and they are really modern. And Aeromexico uses the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which is probably the best of their fleet, and and also the only long haul aircraft in all of Mexico. Like you might take the from Iberia Airlines or anything, but I'm talking about airlines from Mexico. And yes, the Boeing 787 is the only one, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it is the most one of the most modern of all the long haul fleet. And yes, that is why I rank it 8 out of 10. It is actually really good, and as well as it also has some really good general aviation aircraft. And and yes, in that area, in the aircraft area in Mexico, it is really good. So you're a pilot and you have a flight to Mexico. We're gonna analyze how does is aviation in Mexico actually that good from a pilot perspective. Let's find out. But you have to take that with a grain of salt because I'm basing this from Microsoft Flight Simulator, and and what I'm gonna talk about is purely based on that, which is also which could also be relatable to some pilots out there. But let me know in the comments if let me know in the comments if it's actually accurate or not, or if you have some doubts or anything. I would highly appreciate that. But first of all, the taxways are simple, which is they're easier to memorize, and and yeah, there are some most of the airports are parallel, which means one or two parallel runways, and yeah, that makes simplicity, and they are quite good. The truth is, there are not that many iOS approaches. The iOS approaches are a little bit limited in some aspects, but they're in the important airports. Yes, there are iOS approaches, but they are barely being used because of the wind, which is something we can't control, and I already talked about another videos, and and yes, that is why I rank it 8.5 out of 10 because yeah, if you go to airport as into an airport as a pilot, it is not that bad. Like uh it is still beautiful. Now let's analyze the final aspect, the overall importance of aviation in the entire country. Well, first of all, the main issue with that is that nobody cares. Like you can talk with any Mexican citizen about aviation, and they won't understand anything. And that is why I mean all of my audience is not Mexican, and so yeah, that is that is a bummer. What's also a bummer is that the government also doesn't give that as really important as possible because most of you have heard about the incident of the abandoned project of the new airport in Mexico City. They had to abandon it, and it is still being flooded from the lake that below the city, and and yeah, it is a really it is a bummer. They still made another airport, but it is super far away. Like it is really far away. You have to, and also with the entire traffic, and yeah, it is a little bit bad design. But overall, aviation is probably little to not important, and that is why I rank it 1 out of 10, which is a bummer for me. But if you talk with any other Mexican, they don't care. So that brings us to the next question. I mean, the final question: does aviation actually suck in Mexico? Well, I'm gonna say it doesn't, because there are many aspects in Mexico that actually do suck, and I'm not gonna talk about them. But aviation is actually not that bad, but it could use some improvement, like I said. But yeah, there are certain aspects that it could use some improvement, but there are also some other aspects, especially in the flight training. I heard of many flight schools, but you know, I'm not a pilot, so I can't really say about them. But I have heard so many flight schools, and yeah, it is important, but aviation in Mexico, but it could still use some improvement. So overall, it doesn't suck. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I highly encourage you to subscribe, because aviation is the top priority of this channel. Today has been a topic, and the next video is another topic. And yes, you're free to comment any idea, any video idea you can make. I already got an idea from a fella in the comment section. So if you have any doubts or any question or anything, leave that in the comment section to address it in another video. And with all that said and done, thanks for watching and happy flying.